Hello, welcome to Flight Simulator X. This is not a Steam version, so don't trust Steam whatsoever with Flight Simulator. So I have the original, the best, and sitting here in the cockpit of an Airbus A319 -132. Currently cold and dark, as you can see. Absolute nothing on. Right, I'm using this without my joystick and throttles. This video will be how to start this up from the beginning. Could be a tutorial, but this is how I like to start up, and this is the way I've learned. So first of all, main battery on, connect external power, turn on all fuel pumps, we'll go down here to these, turn that display on, turn that display on, turn that on. So we've got these two set and them two. For the middle two, you want ECAM upper, ECAM lower, which will display them. Next, I want to load our fuel. So what we'll do, we want 0 passengers, not boarded. Cargo, want nil, don't want no cargo. Fuel, on the other hand, will have max fuel, so we'll have 19.15. Load fuel. It's loading. Max takeoff weight is 75.5. We're 58.34, which is fine. So we'll let that fill up. So it'll take a while. So while that's doing, strobe light we'll just stick to on. I like to turn beacons on. Seatbelt, no smoking. Emergency exit lights. Stick our probe window heat on. Master switch for the APU. Start the APU. Turn on the APU bleed. Then right click on the ADIRS to nav. All three. Make sure that the on bat system comes on. Now, yeah, we're in the Airbus A319 132. We've got the IAE engine, which I prefer. Lovely engine sound. Right, on the init page, or initialization page, now I'm sitting on an airport which is currently in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. It is downloads and it's a midpoint. If you've got stock aircraft can get here, however the Airbus planes can't, because everything's controlled from here. You can find this manually if you know how to do map navigation, which I don't. And plus, this is a test area because there's no scenery around apart from over there. The frames per second I can keep very high. Right. So we'll click this, align IRS. It says IR in align 4 minutes. Good, so fuel's going in. So, right, we're going to set well, for now, we're going to set our altitude. I'm just going to program about 10,000 feet. Speed, we want 250. Apart from very heavy aircraft like the 747 and 777, 250 is sort of the max speed that is allowed. Heading, automatically set to 106. VS we want to leave because we're not going to be using the VS, we're going to be using the flight level change, which is very good in the Airbus. So, align in 3 minutes. So what can we do? We're not using the flight directing system at all because we can't. So, oh yes, need to turn that battery on. So, right. So, as you can see, we're in the Aerosoft Airbus A319. Very well, nicely modelled. Absolutely love the Airbus. I fell in love with the Airbus. I think it was Commuter Express. The A319 on that had both the CFM and the IAE engines, and because I'm a Rolls-Royce fan, I fell in love with the IAE engine, which makes a great buzz sound during takeoff. I'm very old-fashioned. I prefer all the old Rolls-Royce RB211 engines. The 747 has them, the 767 has them, and the 757, along with the Lockheed TriStar, which is the L1011. Haven't flown that plane in quite a while. May have to download it from Just Flight. Tell you what we'll do is we'll close that door. Hopefully it will still. Aircraft doors. Close. Ground services. Right, we want to set the parking brake. Because with cold and dark you end up with the wheel chocks and traffic cones and the external power GPU around you. So 1 minute to go. Is there anything I have forgotten? I'm gonna put runway lights to extend. There we are, the aircraft's aligned. So what we can now do is remove the wheel chocks, remove the traffic cones, and right, we are on APU power, so we'll turn the external power off. I will turn you off. Let's see. Fuel is coming on nicely. Right, so basically we're just waiting for it to be fully fueled. and I'll come back to that when we are fully fueled. And we're back. Now, me being absolutely thick, I had this flashing load fuel. I only just realised and looked, there's a load instant, which has taken us up. What a fool. So I clicked that and we're back sooner. But you can't tell unless you look at the time. And there we go. Right, now to start this up. This is probably one of the easiest planes to start up that I have ever known. I've flown a lot of planes, and this one is just so simple. It's so easy. All you do now, because this is an Airbus, the trick with Airbus and Boeings is you start the engines in a specific way. The Airbus way is, well, from what I've read, I don't know whether they've changed since then, but with Airbuses you start the left engine first, and with Boeings you start the right engine first. Now, they may have changed it depending on the airports, but in quite a few handbooks that I have with Airbus and Boeings you always start from the right. With Airbuses you always start from the left. But as I say, it's not 100% accurate. So, what we'll do is you want this to be ignition start, and click that. That's it. That's the easiest thing to do. So long as you've got your APU and your APU bleed on, this plane will start with them two switches. So N2's at 30%, N1's coming up nicely. Aerosoft done really good. Unlike some planes that I know where they just the engine shoots to 100% and then comes back down, this slowly starts. Absolute brilliant. So we're waiting for engine stabilisation, which is there. Starting engine 2. There goes the hydraulic brake test. And we can see if we go to hydraulics. There's engine 2 starting. Just waiting for stabilisation. Right, now after start, you can click this to crank, because during taxi and takeoff you leave it so that if an engine does fail it will keep the ignition on. So now we'll just put wing lights, landing lights. We're on the runway, so we'll put taxi lights. On some places you leave the APU on. I'm going to turn it off, just because I can. So, electrics, we're generating power, flight controls, wheels, APU is off, and there's our engines. Right, that is us ready for the next, which will be just a simple takeoff and climb. The climb performance of these are interesting. Now we're not going to load full passengers because, well, we don't need them. So, I will see you in the next video. Happy flying!